Now, you filthy swine, get in here, sit down, and pay attention. Wikipedia is a bit of an issue, the way that it is so biased, and biases aren't a good thing. You don't really necessarily want to frown on one side's opinion just because you feel as if you're aligned to another. But that seems to be what goes on with some of the topics on Wikipedia, particularly anybody conservative tends to get a pretty shocking take on there. Case in point, people like Gavin McGuinness, who I like. I think he's a good chap. He's a bit racy, but, you know, him and his friends have been receiving really scathing and very inaccurate descriptions of their beliefs in life on Wikipedia, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, Elon Musk is launching a new one called Grokipedia. And it's very interesting that it might be, let's hope, impartial, but if not, at least a bit of a counterbalance to Wikipedia. And some places aren't particularly happy with it, such as Rolling Stone. Who would have thought Rolling Stone wouldn't like Musk? It seems to be their thing. This article on Rolling Stone, written by someone called Miles Klee, Musk's Grokipedia validates his favorite conspiracy theories while saying nice things about him. The billionaire has grown increasingly upset with Wikipedia in recent years and now aims to take it down with a non-woke alternative. Well, a counterbalance is a good thing, and I wouldn't ever want Wikipedia to not be a thing. I'm not always that unhappy with their results. Sometimes, if you're dealing with a very highly factual subject, Wikipedia is pretty good. If you're dealing with something political and contentious, not so, in my opinion. Happy birthday, Wikipedia. So glad you exist. So wrote billionaire Elon Musk on X, then Twitter, back in 2021, on the 20th anniversary of the launch of the free online encyclopedia. It does nag you to pay, though. It does say, "Oh, please, will you give me some money? I'm just a bare librarian. I just need some more money, sir." Like the many others who regularly access the crowdsourced site, more than $1 billion a month, he apparently regarded it as an invaluable free tool and noble undertaking that had democratized human knowledge the world over, all thanks to the tireless work of tens of thousands of volunteer editors and the non-profit Wikimedia Foundation. It depends upon the subject matter, I find. On Monday, however, Musk unveiled the first version of an online encyclopedia that he said was already better than Wikipedia and purged of that site's so-called propaganda. It's a funny word, propaganda, and you'll find propaganda, or things that qualify as propaganda, coming from all directions. So, yes, a lot of opinions, I think, perhaps is a better way of putting it on Wikipedia, particularly when you're dealing with biographies. Grokipedia consists of about 900,000 AI-written articles and was developed by Musk's company XAI, using its large language model Grok, which is integrated into his social media platform X. And while many of the pages are copied verbatim from Wikipedia, there are notable changes on topics related to Musk, his enemies and allies, and his far-right politics. I mean, that's your opinion, Rolling Stone. I don't think he's far-right at all. I think he's much more centrist. But I don't know. You'd have to speak to him. So how did Musk go from a champion of the internet's go-to reference resource to this clumsy attempt at killing it? Well, I don't think it's even released as version 1 yet. I think they released version 0.1, which is... well, that's less than 1, sir. it's only 10% of the way out. It's like a baby that's only just stuck its head out, and the rest of it is still waiting to come out, maybe. While Musk continued to share Wikipedia pages on social media following his 20th birthday message on the site, his rosy view of the vast information network wouldn't last. By the end of that same year, he was complaining that the article about him was a dumpster fire and improperly curated. History is written by the victors, except on Wikipedia, as your enemies are still alive and have lots of time on their hands, he posted on that occasion, repeating the same joke every few months thereafter. Soon enough, Musk started accusing the website of ideological bias, claiming in 2022 that it was losing its objectivity, and tagging Wikipedia co-founder Jimmy Wales as he insisted it was overly controlled by mainstream media. The press became a more frequent target for the tech billionaire as he began espousing increasingly right-wing views. By 2023, after acquiring Twitter and launching its rebrand as X, he was touting the platform's community notes feature as more reliable than Wikipedia. which he accused of a left-wing editorial control problem. On certain subjects, yes, I would say that is pretty evident. Ironically, a community note would later correct his false assertion that Wikimedia Foundation doesn't have significant operating expenses and therefore must be doing something else, possibly nefarious, with user donations. While spreading that misinformation, I don't know, is it? Did he just express an opinion? Well, I don't know. Do you know? Perhaps they're filling up a big slush fund for other endeavors related to Wikipedia. Maybe they're just not living hand to mouth. While spreading that misinformation, Musk offered the non-profit $1 billion if they changed the name Wikipedia to Dickopedia. If they'd taken him up on that, and gave it the supplementary nickname Wokepedia, tying it to his concept of a sinister woke mind virus. In 2024, as Musk threw his full influence and financial might behind the presidential campaign of Donald Trump, he was incensed at how the media and Wikipedia challenged misleading MAGA talking points and outright falsehoods, arguing shortly before the election that the latter had been seized by left-wing activists. He also said the encyclopedia was broken because of a page dedicated to the academic debate over whether Trump can be considered a fascist. Is it an academic debate? I thought the whole idea of fascism was pretty clear, was it not? It was state control of private sector industry and tyrannical conformity, stuff like that. Shushing people for not towing the line. Yeah. Musk was similarly annoyed this January when Wikipedia accurately recorded that a gesture he made at an inauguration event had been interpreted by many people as a Nazi salute, but that he denied he had intended it as such. Yeah, there's been so many other occasions of other famous people with a hand in the air waving at people. I'm really not sure that's a thing. These mounting grievances precipitated the creation of Grokipedia as a recalibrated Wikipedia competitor, which is obvious just from looking at its virtually endless page on Elon Musk. There's no mention of the Inauguration Day salute whatsoever. It's not really that interesting, let alone its resemblance to a notorious fascist gesture that I think I saw a picture of, Ocasio-Cortez was doing the same gesture in a photograph with Bernie Sanders and that Mandani chap from New York. So it's a bit of an empty observation. Instead, Grokipedia readers are treated to the flattering but questionable factoids about the man whose company built the website, including that he allegedly works 80 to 100 hours per week and reportedly lost 20 pounds through intermittent fasting. Okay, and other embarrassing incidents are downplayed, whereas Wikipedia devotes a section of its Musk article to his messy feud with Donald Trump this spring, including the detail that Musk invoked Trump's ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so did many other people. Grokipedia only passingly mentions a public disagreement with Trump on policy issues. And this would be servicing the counterbalance to Wikipedia part. If this is biased, then it's biased in the opposite direction, which, given how enthusiastic Wikipedia is for supporting certain people, if you like those people, good for you. If you don't, then it seems unfair, and Grokipedia may be for you. Right-wing commentators were meanwhile elated to see how Grokipedia whitewashed extremism, noting that it does not describe Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a conspiracy theorist or an anti-vaccine activist. I think he's a cautious vaccine activist. He doesn't say don't take vaccines. That's not what he says, or has said. I suppose this will get me in trouble on Yoz Chobs. Sorry, old Yoz Chobs, I'm saying those words. Oh dear. Whoopsie. Following that thread a bit further, you'll find that while Wikipedia's page about anti-jibby-jab activism includes an upfront acknowledgement of the misinformation and disinformation that drive the movement, Grokipedia's page on jibby-jab opposition activism is notably softer, merely observing that proponents have sometimes been criticized for distorting data. Conspiracy theories themselves are given somewhat more credence on Grokipedia as well. Consider the article on Pizzagate, a wildly debunked fake story about a supposed child sex trafficking ring run by liberal elites out of the basement of pizzeria in Washington, D.C. Even the far-right influencers known to have spread this misinformation, what are they far-right of, though? If they are far, they're far from you. What are you? Where are you? Are you far the other way? Influencers known to have spread this information almost a decade ago, including Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, have abandoned the absurd premise, yet Grokipedia calls Pizzagate a series of allegations, a hypothesis, and a narrative. The phrase conspiracy theory doesn't appear until the 35th paragraph, following long sections about the interpretations of leaked emails from the prominent Democrats as coded messages and the emergence of symbolic evidence. Perhaps not surprisingly, several pages for Posobiec and Cernovich do not identify them as conspiracy theorists, only reporting that they have been characterized this way by mainstream media and far left-leaning outlets, would be my take on that. And also the word conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist is very stale now. To me, if you're describing anybody as a conspiracy theorist, then it's kind of like you're a bit stiff. You're a bit slow to adapt. Things have been going a bit weird in the world. Have you not noticed? Musk's fingerprints abound across the sections of Grokipedia that address subjects of his own resentments. He has long railed against billionaire George Soros as a puppet master of left-wing activism, and where Wikipedia explains such views as anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, Grokipedia has a page titled Theories of George Soros' Influence. Musk has tacitly endorsed the racist Great Replacement conspiracy theory. Is it racist, though? I don't know. You're jumping to a very big assumption there, which baselessly holds that liberal elites are trying to erode white majority demographics in Western nations through immigration. Nobody actually says white majority. No, that's a bit of fear-mongering there. I mean, particularly in this country, in the United States, people from all over the world emigrated here to become part of this country, and we're a melting pot. So the demographics of this country are US citizens and US culture. That's the replacement that may be going on there. It's nothing to do with the color of people's skin. That's my take on that. You can disagree if you wish. Grokipedia, of course, treats it as a valid and empirically supported idea, dismissing its glaring connections to white nationalist ideology as nothing but rhetorical attacks by the press. So much of this article seems to just plug into fears. Do you have a fear? Do you have a fear you wish to itch? Here you go. Pick this spot here and have an itch. Naturally, Musk's reactionary stances on gender and sexuality are out on display. The word cisgender, a neutral complement to the word transgender, pathologizes normality. According to critics, Grokipedia says that's a pretty fair take. Yeah, I mean, it's a term related to this gender ideology that if you believe, then perhaps you like. If you don't, and most of the people I don't believe are particularly down with it, aren't necessarily going to like it. Its source for this is a website called New Discourses, founded by author and far-right activist James Lindsay, who has smeared LGBTQ people as groomers trying to indoctrinate children into the queer community. I think is he not the guy who keeps going on about woke right, which is kind of a strange thing. But I got his explanation and I kind of get it, but I don't exactly agree with calling it that. But it's cultural Marxism being used by groups who identify as right-wing, but they're not necessarily right-wing. They're just using that position and those methods. Anyway, that's him. Elsewhere, the page for transgender speculates at length as to whether people are transitioning primarily due to social contagion, i.e. exposure to other trans people in real life and online. Actual scientific evidence indicates no effect of this kind. You've been told. Actual science? Not your silly science. But having the goods to back up your inflammatory beliefs is hardly the point of Grokipedia, a platform simply meant to appear authoritative in its own right. With its AI-based model, it also seeks to exacerbate the common and mistaken assumptions that chatbots infallibly supply objective truth on command. Make no mistake, unlike Wikipedia's articles, the hundreds of thousands of pages on Grokipedia don't represent any human effort to arrive at some consensus version of reality. They're words scraped from around the web, rearranged, revised, and laced with the most toxic parts of Musk's worldview. Okay, well, you're not fans of Musk. I, however, am. And I think this article here is fan service for people who have fears and live on the exhaust fumes of the fear pumped out by left-wing media. That would be my take on this. I think at worst, it's a biased attempt at a counterbalance to Wikipedia. At best, it'll be a middle ground. And I think knowing what this chap seems to espouse, I think it's probably going to be pretty even keel. We'll have to see. Is it available yet? Let me see. Grokipedia. We're arriving at Grokipedia. Grokipedia. Let's see. There's one person I know who could be a target for unfair opinions, and that could be somebody such as Gavin McGuinness, who's quite a divisive person. If you like him, then you fall on one side. If you don't like him, then you fall firmly on another. Let's see. Gavin McGuinness on Grokipedia. It comes up. Proud Boys is one of the offshoots of Gavin McGuinness. How long is this article? It's pretty long. Pretty long. Very long. Extremely long. It's very long. It keeps going. Long, long, very long. There we go. We got sources. So it was pretty long. Let's see. A comparison between this and Wikipedia's take on Gavin McGuinness. Gavin Muggins, is that your name, sir? Wikipedia, take me there, which I often visit. It's pretty good. There we go. Hello, sir. Would you like to give me some money, sir? Would you like to give me some rupees or perhaps some pound sterling, maybe? I don't know. Gavin McGuinness. Far right, there you go. Canadian far right commentator. Well, is he not a US citizen as well? I think he has nationality in multiple countries. Wikipedia of this chap says Gavin McGuinness, spelt what is this? I don't like that. Born that time, is a Canadian writer, podcaster, far-right commentator and founder of Proud Boys. He's the host of Get Off My Lawn with Gavin McGuinness on his website, Compound Censored. He co-founded Vice magazine in '96 and relocated to US in 2001. He founded the Proud Boys, an American far-right militant. Are they militant organization? Then I don't think they're militant, actually. I think they're just a drinking group. I think they're just a bunch of dudes that drink. McGuinness has been described as promoting violence against political opponents, but has argued that he has only supported political violence in self-defense and that he is not far-right or a supporter of fascism, instead identifying it as a fiscal conservative and libertarian. That's the intro of that. It got a bit spicy. It's throwing the word fascist around a bit, isn't it? Let's see what Grokipedia says. Gavin McGuinness, born then, is a British-born Canadian writer, media entrepreneur, comedian, and political commentator. Born in Hitchin, England, to Scottish parents, McGuinness emigrated to Canada at age 4 and grew up in Ottawa before settling in Montreal. He gained prominence as co-founder of Vice Media in '94, initially as an underground alternative publication in Montreal that evolved into a global media company known for its edgy, youth-orientated content. McGuinness left Vice in 2008 amid ideological shifts within the company, subsequently launching independent platforms like Street Carnage and hosting shows on networks such as Rebel Media and Compound Media, where he critiques modern liberalism, feminism, and political correctness from a contrarian perspective. Well, that's a much more, from my perspective, as somebody who likes Gavin McGuinness, that seems a much more decent introduction to him. As an introductory paragraph, there's no mention of violence, militantisms, no mention of the Proud Boys, which is just a facet of him. Or fascism. So I don't know. As somebody who has a bias for this chap, maybe this is falling on the counterbalance to Wikipedia. Maybe it's more even kill. All right, let's see. One of the things is he's not a big fan of Islam. I'm not particularly fussed. If you're a Muslim, good for you. I don't care. Let's see. Just looking for how often it appears in the page. 1 of 7. Okay. Well, this is a good way of quantifying. We've got 1 of 7 down here. Let's see. Fascism. So, fascism. How many of those? 2 of, I don't know, is that 2 of 2 or is it 20? 2. So they only mention it twice, actually, in this article. There's no mention of fascism at all in Grokipedia for Gavin McGuinness because he's not fascist, which is a good thing. You know, don't be that. Don't do that. No. How many times do they mention Proud Boys? So how often do we see that then? Proud Boys. Okay, mentioned 34 times. Proud Boys mentioned how many times? Oh my goodness. You really do mention it a lot. All right, 70-something times on Wikipedia. So they keep hammering the Proud Boys aspect on Wikipedia, but on Grokipedia, it's about half as much. So I mean, he was the founder of the All Men's Group, but yeah, big differences already are evident with a divisive figure like this. It's probably worth checking out. I think Grokipedia may be a good alternative to Wikipedia if you're researching people who are contentious. You could go to Wikipedia and Grokipedia and see where the differences lie, and perhaps you can make your own mind up. I mean, when you're dealing with opinions of people, it's not exactly a science, particularly when it's political, because so much of it is spin. You're either trying to tear someone down or build them up. But yeah, good for you, sir, Elon, for trying to tackle this beast and create some kind of counterbalance. Look forward to it. I like Grok. Grok is a good tool. well worth checking out. But that is it for now. If you like the show, like the show. If you don't like the show, well, I don't know why you're here, but please do come back. But that is it for now. Pigwig, out.
Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oink, oink, ree, squeal, snort, snort, oinkity, squee. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 snort, snuffle, oink, squee, squeal, ree, snort, oinky. Oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 squeal, squeal. Snort, snuffle, oink, ree, squeal, ree, snort, oinky. Oinkity, oink, 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 snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 oink.